Every path in life, every career, every interaction with a person with any significance must employ a form of communication, whether it is formatted as a wave, a glance, actual diction, or emotional support. Language is manifested in many ways consistently. When you learn a language, you are learning a method of communicating, not just verbally, but also emotionally, and even in some cases spiritually. There was a quote in my Theory of Knowledge class in 11th grade by Charlemagne. He said, "To possess another language is to possess a second soul." As every multilingual person would say, this quote is very true, since learning another language involves learning a whole new way of life. This is what many unilingual people don't understand about those that are foreign. I've seen this especially in America, where many discriminations are set in place for outsiders. Most cases of racial or ethnic discrimination are due to incomprehensibility of this process of learning a new lifestyle. Just like the fact that different languages are hard to learn after a certain age when one moves to a new country, a new lifestyle is very hard to learn after the same point in maturity. I myself learned another language before English. My parents are from India, and to keep the culture of India alive, I learned my mother tongue at birth, a language called Malayalam. All the Indian languages are very complex and unique with its own set of rules, and even within each language, there are dialects and variations in meaning. Out of all the Indian languages I have come across in my life, Malayalam is the most informal, to say the least. Well, I'm sure there's a very formal way to talk in the language, but most of everyday speech is made informal compared to any other language. My parents were alone, family-wise, in America when they had me, their first kid. They brought over my grandparents to live here and to take care of me for the first year of my life. Even though I predominantly spoke Malayalam at home, when I started school, I was able to switch to English very easily. In my kindergarten class, my teacher was very forward-thinking and very interactive. Because of this, I was able to recognize and emulate American English more efficiently without the stereotypical Indian accent or the head bobbing, the such. Only recently have I realized that this was a very important time in my life. Because of my good experiences in elementary and middle school, I had a very good confidence in my identity. I am Indian, born in America, culturally advanced, with traditions older than most civilizations, courage to die for, and just simply superior. No, just kidding. But I really was confident in my culture and my motherland. I realized if my teachers and mentors in my youth were adversive to me as I learned the American way, I might have rejected my mother tongue and solely focused on perfecting English. This is one of the more important parts of my literacy career that I can look back to and appreciate. One particular memory that includes writing was much more recent. Just 2 years ago, my 11th grade English teacher, introduced us to free and indirect discourse. We were talking about the book The Awakening and Mrs. Dalloway. This form of writing was very fun and free. When we did this in class, it was very fun to see what people were thinking and how much it was in common with our own thoughts. I grew up in a world where computers and smart devices were so abundant. But I do remember in first grade, there would be dictionary checks, where we learned how to use the dictionary. This transformed into writing essays on paper and using dictionaries online. And this moved on to spell check on Microsoft Word and then being able to find dozens of synonyms and words just with a click or two. Computer writers have been one of the most influential technologies to change the writing game completely. Mistakes are a commonplace, and everyone can express their writing easily to any audience in any part of the world with correct or incorrect grammar and incorrect spelling most of the time. But now with technology, mistakes don't involve redrafting, and redrafting doesn't involve getting new papers and wasting more ink. For me, Microsoft Word is very beneficial because I'm not that good at spelling. So without Word, I wouldn't be that good of a writer at all, since no one would be able to recognize my handwriting either. So when we transitioned from middle school to high school, we would, instead of writing essays on just on paper, we would start writing it on Microsoft Word and printing it out. And a lot of really good English teachers. And we would, since it was in high school, it was college prep high school, we would act as though everything was very official and about to be published, and this really changed the life, my literacy lifestyle, since I became more inclined to accept and appreciate what literary works have to go through to get published and to be accepted in the community. Not only that, but in high school, we would read many established works. This new level of literacy really inspired me and a lot of my classmates. This affected the motivation that I had in myself. When given an assignment, I would pay more attention to it and think about how I can emulate and copy some of these literary styles of these famous authors and poets, and it really enhanced the experience of reading and writing for me. And throughout the process, I really kept in touch with my culture. And if you've ever heard that if you know another language, you would think it in that language before you think in English. Like if you're foreign, and I definitely do think in Malayalam before I write. So that may have hindered or maybe enhanced my writing experience. But to say the least, that I have evolved a lot since then, since middle school, since elementary school, and I feel like I have a greater appreciation for literary elements. Instead of just interesting stories, I tend to read more nonfiction or genuine like biographies, which are very, very real. And I feel like my definition of writing, of good writing, changed to mean genuine instead of entertaining. And even if it's not like cool or if it's something made up, the realness of a topic is very enticing for readers. And I feel like that's become a factor in my writing and my reading. And so far, it's made me a better reader and a better writer.